Then I briefly listened to Rachel today. Had to turn it off quite fast because I just can't listen to the nonsense. But no matter how many times she mentions the word growth, it doesn't mean you're going to grow the economy, Rachel, from accounts. So, you know, were the tax deductions for working people, were the help for small businesses, you know, with all the crazy corporation business taxes coming out their ears, you know, was the help for the people that are kind of the backbone of our economy? Was the help for families? Because according to all stats, that was suffering like a population problem where we're not having enough babies and we've got more and more adults coming into the country, supposedly to help that problem, but obviously it just exacerbates the problem. Is there any help for them? Any help for families getting to work and stuff? No? So what's she done? Talking about Heathrow expansion, which apparently is going to take 5 years just to get the planning sorted. And that was in the pipeline anyway. And I don't know who'll be using these planes because nobody will be afford to go away apart from the really rich. Talking about renewing and expanding Old Trafford. Some nonsense about Cambridge and Oxford, which I really didn't understand. What else she gone about? I know I'm missing something. But yeah, not a lot. Not a lot to go on there. Just a few things for some big fat cats to earn more money. Just some, you know, bigger businesses getting bigger. But nothing for the little people. Nothing for the people that literally get those wheels moving in this country. And again, she talks about let's be positive like America and Trump. And again, Trump gives people reason to be positive. He's giving them all cheap energy, whereas we've got the most expensive energy costs in the West, if not the whole world. He's even talking about getting rid of income tax. No income tax, which in some states already exists. No income tax. Keep all your money that you earn. Amazing. You know, America has reason to be hopeful. What she just needs to go is to stop the Senate national insurance increase, cut tax, let people keep more of the money that they earn, you know. And then the two things, people need to have more money to spend, and we need the roads up and running and to make cars affordable so people can move around and get businesses and services working. These are like the two foundations to getting an economy growing. Are they doing any of that? No, I think taxpayers are apparently going to be paying more to help people buy electric vehicles, which nobody wants. Doesn't matter how many times GB News even, or anybody else tells us that apparently electric vehicle sales are beating petrol and diesel. We don't believe you, because anybody I speak to hates their electric vehicle and everyone just wants to keep their petrol and diesel ones. She then talks about net zero, and in my opinion, you can't have growth and you can't have net zero together. She said we need to be leading in net zero. The only thing you're leading is us off the cliff, because nobody else is following net zero anymore. If you hadn't noticed, Rachel and Ed, if you stop singing your Kumbaya, maybe you'd hear what people are shouting in those very large big ears of yours. Net zero is dead. Listen to Trump again. There is no climate crisis. I think there's a megalomaniac crisis who are pissing about with our weather and doing things like not dredging rivers, not burning back the bush, messing around with reservoirs where water is supplied. I think we've got a problem with megalomaniacs messing around with the weather and our just nature. But there's no climate crisis. This globe has been much hotter than it is today. And you look to the LA, which has been dry slightly in the last year, but it's had 2 of the wettest years before that. And when you look at long data, it's nothing really changing there. Weather's quite stable actually. It's nonsense, total nonsense. And again, if you think CO2, which is 0.04% of the atmosphere, and man responsible for 3%, whereas nature's responsible for 97%, and the UK is 0.8%. If you really think us talking about stopping people having wood burners, whilst China builds a coal station every week to supply us numpties with more solar panels to cover our land, which we need to grow food, you're off your rocker. Nobody wants net zero. It's finished, it's had its day, and it's just little old Blighty, which is allowing its ego and need to be virtuous again to run us off the cliff, because that's the only way net zero will take us. We need cheap, readily available fuel that we can provide ourselves rather than buying it from China with all the metal for turbines and solar panels and electric vehicles and batteries that will all have to go in landfill and generally is way worse for the environment, or buying oil from India or Russia or the Middle East. We need to use what God gave us to use in our own little island.